Welcome to step 3 of learning how to set up your budget. I wanted to do this series for you guys because I received a comment from one of you where she basically just said, hey, look, we get that we're supposed to be doing a budget. We just don't know the steps that we need to take in order to get that done. Would you please help us? And I totally felt that. So here we are. We're on step 3. If you are just clicking in, go ahead and look in the pinned comment. I have step 1 and step 2. Those videos are there for you. Check those out and meet us back here for step 3. Okay, budgeters. Oh yes, you have officially earned the title of being a budgeter. You logged into your accounts, you printed, you organized, you categorized, you highlighted, and then you went through that mess all over again and you subcategorized. You are 100% a budgeter. Congratulations. Welcome to the club. Okay, and now you have something that looks like this, right? You looked through and you wrote down as many things as you could think of that you pay. It might be a lot, it might not. It doesn't really matter how many expenses you have or don't have. It could be 10 or 500 because in the end, a budget is a budget. The setup is going to be the same. So let's get to it. First, I want to tell you that completing these 3 pages is really going to help you now and in the future. So don't throw these away. Laminate this because anytime you need to tighten the belt, it will be so easy for you to see what you can cut first and second and third. So now we're going to take everything that you have written here, all of your subcategories, and we're going to put them here. As you can see, this is called budget priorities. This is linked below for you in the pinned comment. Pause the video, find it and print it out, and let's go over it. Okay, you ready? Now we're going to take all of these subcategories and we are going to prioritize them. You will want them in order from most important to least important. What should be paid first, obviously at the top and moving down. Nice and easy. So for example, you would not want to be paying Capital One before you have groceries for the week. You would not want to pay your car payment before your mortgage. There is a pecking order to a certain point. And then after that, that's when your personal priorities are going to take over. And your particular situation is going to come into the equation. You'll see what I mean as we go along because I'm going to be showing you my personal budget to give you that visual overview. And if you're already looking at this, don't worry about the balance part because we're going to do that at the very end. Now, as we go through and you get to that point where the prioritizing isn't quite as obvious as you wish it were, you're just going to have to make a decision. And don't worry, it doesn't mean it has to stay that way forever. You can change it at any time you want or any time you need to. It's not complicated, I promise. And here's what I did. If I got stuck on 2 things in one of these sections, I would just compare the 2 things to each other. For example, clothing or Uhtred's vet visits, I chose Uhtred. Subscriptions or my pool service, I chose my pool service. Okay, now I did not eliminate anything. We're just talking about the order of importance right now. And only I can make those decisions for my household. We all have different lives, different incomes, and most importantly, we all have different concerns. But there is one concern that is the same for everyone watching. Our home. We have to keep our shelter. Nothing else comes before this unless you are a Christian, which I am, so I feel the need to say this. It may not apply to you, but it does apply to my home, and I know a lot of you out there watching as well. Tithing is our way of showing gratitude for everything that God provides. And I can personally say that even when I was not tithing, God has always provided for me. So I made this worksheet for you guys to make this process a lot easier on you. This is going to be where we section out in order how things are going to go on our budget sheet. Yes, that budget sheet will finally be next. So let's get started here. Let's start with page 1. And as I said, don't worry about the balance yet. We're going to get to the income at the end of the video. For now, I'm just going to be showing you how to take everything that is on this and we're going to organize it, prioritize it over here. So as I said, if you do tithe, we do 10% of our income. So mine is $880 a month, and I'm going to be doing all monthly totals here. And then after that, four walls bills will always be at the top of the list. Why? Let me read a comment I just received the other day from one of you. And it says, please help. Our mortgage increased. My light bill is on a payment arrangement as we have a high balance and we have credit card debt. I am at a standstill in anxiety, worry, and fear of not knowing what to focus on and pay. My husband wants us to stop paying credit cards and focus on mortgage and light bill. Help. Okay, you guys, she is certainly not alone. A Lending Tree survey found that 37% of Americans are behind on their monthly bills, and this goes up to 53% when we're talking about people who have young children in their home. Okay, you guys, when you are falling behind on your bills and that phone will not stop ringing, you and your partner maybe aren't seeing eye to eye, and just like that viewer, you start to feel that anxiety, worry, and fear. Believe me, I've been there and I totally get it. And if you are in a similar situation, before we go any further, I would like to help and offer you the same advice that I gave to her. I have this video where I go over step-by-step instructions on how to get out of this. You can do it. You have options. There is a strategy, a system to follow in this video. Just watch that and get to work on those steps before those bill collectors deplete all of your energy, and they will. And I want to say, is this example that I'm going to be giving you in this video perfect? No. Will you agree with every single thing that I say? No. Will all of what I say apply directly to you? No. Are we going to be doing our best? Yes. Will your version of this be adjusted again and again? Yes. Is that okay? Yes. As a matter of fact, it is completely normal. It takes a budget around 3 months to start to work itself out and get really dialed in for you. But even then, it will never be perfect. But you know what it will be? Better than not having one at all. And you guys, you are going to be so happy that you did this. You are going to feel relieved and have a sense of control back. Okay? Okay. So let's start prioritizing our bills and expenses as best as we can. So as I said, we're going to start with these four walls, and mine are, I've got my mortgage, my electricity, and my water. And if you notice these little check marks here for taxes, homeowners insurance, and trash, that is actually included in my mortgage. So let me go ahead and write those down. Okay, so go ahead and write whatever your four walls bills are. Again, these are going to be different for everyone, where one of you may have HOA fees, I do not. You may have a propane bill, I do not. You may have homeowners insurance and someone else will have renters insurance, and this person over here doesn't have either one. You guys see where I'm going with this? Now, some of you may feel like I'm over explaining a little bit here, but you guys, I have a video on the no buy challenge, and you would not believe how many comments I got where people were asking me things like, so you don't buy groceries? What about your bills? You don't pay your bills? So anyway, do you see how this sheet is just a very nice catch-all? And then we can go back through and just check that we have everything from this category sheet on the priority sheet. And you may have noticed where I wrote union dues for $50. And the reason I put that here under my four walls is because we wouldn't have four walls without that union ticket. So again, this is how you live. And just to let you know, I'm going to put down here at the bottom for each category what the general recommendation is for each of these categories. And for this one, it is 30% of your gross income. So the next thing we're going to do is groceries. And when you write your grocery budget in, don't write what you want your grocery budget to be, write what it actually is. You may have to work on some things if it's too high to get it lowered, and that's perfectly fine. I floundered with my grocery bill for 2 years. 2 years, you guys. I hope it doesn't take you that long, but I do want you to remain realistic here. And don't worry if yours is really high. We will come back to that at the end. Okay, and my groceries are $600 a month. That is my budgeted amount. So we're going to write that in. Okay, and next up is your transportation, whatever that looks like for you. You could have one car payment, maybe you have multiple car payments, car insurance, car's regular maintenance like tires and oil changes, your inspections, registrations, parking and tolls, and I mean at work type parking, not for Saturday night at the club downtown parking. And for the gas, the amount that you need to get to work, take your kids where they go, the grocery store, necessity driving, not gas for a weekend road trip with your bestie or to pick up your slacker boyfriend from his part-time job. And you might be thinking, geez, Jen, why so aggressive? Because I want to help you, not coddle you. You need to get aggressive with your money, sis. You work hard for it, right? So stop giving it away. Can I put my car wash here? No. If you have a monthly membership to Quick Quack or stop at the full service car wash on Sundays, you cannot put that in the transpo. It is not a necessity. And we are going to be sticking with the absolute necessity transportation costs. You guys see where this is going, right? I am not playing around with this budget. We are not going in with some rose-colored glasses and the mindset of, well, I have to have a life, because yeah, you do, but that comes later. Convenience and ease and fun and favors is later. How do you guys think I come up with such specific scenarios? Because I'm not making them up. I have done these at one point or another. You just got a glimpse into young Jen's budgeting mistakes, and I want to save you from making the same mistakes. Okay, and here are my transportation costs, and you might be saying like, what the heck, Jen, but I do not have a car payment. I am completely debt-free except for my mortgage. So I have vehicle insurance, I have gas. It's $50 a month, you guys. I know we don't go anywhere. I work from home. Jason is working from home. And the maintenance here is basically just oil changes and a little extra for tires when we need them. The annual registration, it's only $45 for the year. So, I mean, to put it in a monthly fee, it would have been just a couple bucks. So I just wrote it there as a note. And as far as bigger repairs, that is part of my 6-month emergency fund. So I did not add that in there either. Let's go ahead and write mine down. And right here, I'm going to put the recommended car cost, what you should be paying for a vehicle. And we will circle back to the vehicle repairs in a little while, because of course we got to keep that car on the road, and yes, you want to be prepared. Next, we're going to do living essentials, and that would be things like your phone, childcare, maybe you pay child support, life insurance if people depend on your income, pet care. And when I say pet care, I do not mean grooming and toys. I mean medications and food. Anything else we will come back to later. Wi-Fi if it's for work. Yes, I am being like that. Health insurance, medications, household products. Now this is that elusive category. And I did find on the internet that the average household spends between $50 and $70 a month on all household products. And sometimes when you find an average or a median online, it can be some ridiculous number, but I actually felt like that was pretty accurate. In fact, I'm going to start using $60 a month for my household products. So again, you guys, things that we absolutely need to continue to live, living essentials. And I found it easier to kind of section these into 2 parts for us, giving you two levels of importance here. I really wanted this first page to be things that we absolutely need in order to survive. So let's go ahead and write down what mine are. Okay, let's see what I have. I've got my Wi-Fi, my phones, Uhtred's medication, Uhtred's vet visits, my household products, and both of our life insurance policies. And then down here, I have the out-of-pocket deductible for next year and Uhtred's health insurance. Now, I'm going to be honest in saying with Uhtred's medication and his vet, that would be in part 2 if he didn't have to have monthly medication for his allergies. And believe me, you guys, I have tried everything, and I am currently using this mushroom powder to see if this works. I mean, I have yet to find anything that keeps him from being miserable besides the medication from the vet. So you can see how my personal preferences are already beginning to come in here. And I feel like having our out-of-pocket and deductible ready for next year and Uhtred's pet insurance. You guys, if something really did start to implode and I was deciding on what I needed to survive and keep a roof, those two things, they would go and I would deal with it later. Is it ideal? Of course not, but it is honest. So just be honest and realistic with yourselves throughout this entire process, because even on what we would consider living essentials, these also have a pecking order. So let's move on to page 2. So here I feel like in the sinking funds section, and this is my opinion, I would put things like school supplies and uniforms, your work uniforms. Here is where annual checkups, eye exams, eyewear, dental cleanings, things that maybe aren't covered by your insurance, but you know are coming each year. Those things could go there. And here's why I personally would also put car repairs and house repairs. Now, those things that I just mentioned, those are the absolute budget busters, right? Having that money set aside in what we call sinking funds would be amazing. If you have never heard of sinking funds, what that is savings that you build up in small increments over time so that when that expense does need to be paid, you have the cash, no credit, which means zero interest. So things that you already know about, like your semi-annual car insurance, HOA fees, property taxes, there's really no limit to this. Things like birthdays and Christmas, I consider them extras, but you may not. Those may be necessity expenses for you, especially if you have small children at home. Sinking funds are perfect for those categories and many, many more. And I'm saying all of this because if you're looking at the paper, you can see that debt is coming up next. And these things that we just talked about that you could list as sinking funds, those are all very important things, right? I mean, very important. And how often are these types of expenses put on credit? A lot. I would love to see you become your own bank, your own credit with zero interest. So when we get to the end, I would like to subtract these things from your income before the debt payments so that you can see where you really are. If you can start putting away for these things ahead of time, that would be really cool, right? And we just want to see, even if it ends up to where you can't put all of those things before debt payments, maybe you can do some of them, but either way, it is a measuring stick and you will have a real number now that you have attached to it, a new goal for yourself, and you've got a system to get there. So as you can see, I have without debt, what your total is going to be, and with your debt, these two things together. And if you end up seeing when we do this later that you can afford sinking funds, I feel like they should go before savings and retirement. And my reason behind this is if you need glasses or say your house needs a repair, in my opinion, that should come before putting money into your IRA account. But maybe you want to put those things in after. It's totally up to you. This is your budget. And I actually added that blank sheet for that reason, for you to make this your own. These are just my suggestions. But in the end, once you've decided the order of the sinking funds, debts, and savings that you like and makes sense for you, and there is still a positive number here before we get into your extras section, you will know now that you can afford to put into your sinking funds before your extras, before the Netflix, before the nail appointments. And that would be a decision for you to make, which, like we said, and I want you to remember that these are the things that we typically wait until they happen, and then we reach for our card to save us. But this whole thing that we're doing, this may be your eye opener that you needed to see and know, wow, I actually can afford a car repair savings fund. Now, I personally have my 6-month emergency fund saved up and ready to go for car and house repairs, all those expenses and emergencies that might pop up for me. And that's what you want, like I said, to be your own bank, no interest. And my sinking funds are actually, I just want to show you really quick, part of my savings challenge money down here. As you can see, $720 a month goes just for savings challenges. And those are my sinking funds. I have Christmas, medical, car maintenance. I have one going for my daughter's wedding coming up. So I'm not going to be putting anything of my own in sinking funds. I'm not going to be putting anything into debt. As I said, I don't have any debt, but I do want you to go ahead and write down sinking funds that you would like to have, or any that you do have. You can just kind of separate them. Maybe you have some, put them here. If you want some, put them over here, and we'll do that math there at the end. But now it's time for those debt payments to be written down if you have any. And obviously that's going to be credit cards, student loans, personal loans, afterpays, payday loans, all of that. Even if you owe a family member some money, medical debt, a HELOC, everything, put it there in the debt section. Now, you may need to get rid of some of your debts first, and that's totally okay as long as you're working on it. And if you are doing all of this, I have a feeling that that's exactly what you're getting ready to do. And I am so proud of you guys for doing this. This takes some real determination, doesn't it? Just keep showing up for yourself. I'm going to keep showing up too, so you know you've always got me to help. Now, I want to say here too, I follow Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps. And if you are following them as well, and you're trying to get your $1,000 emergency fund and pay off all of your debt, it is actually recommended to pause any investing that you're doing and any retirement accounts that you are putting into until all of your debt is paid off. And that is because you are typically carrying a higher interest rate on your debt than you are getting on your returns on your investments. Now, once those debt payments are gone, think about how much money you will have each month to start putting back into your retirement. You will get caught up very quickly. In fact, you've already got it written out over here. So just look at your monthly debt payments total, and you'll know exactly how much you will be able to put into your retirement once that time has come. And of course, if you have your 3 to 6 months saved up already, then yes, start saving your 15% in this order. Your 401 or 403Bs first, because match is free money, then put into your IRA. Now, any more retirement advice than that, you're going to have to find an advisor. I only know the basics here, you guys, and that's as far as I go. The goal here on this channel is to get you the $1,000 starter fund, your debt paid off, and get you to working on your 3 to 6 month fund. I specialize in those first 3 baby steps. So I'm going to go ahead and write down what I'm doing over in this one with my savings. Okay, now as you can see, I have $1,350 going in each month to our IRA accounts. That is maxing both of us out at the $8,000. And our retirement is auto. We don't have to worry about that. And we've got the $720 for the savings challenges. Okay, we made it through that. And now we are down here at the extras / services that we pay for. Let's see what you can afford for the fun stuff. Finally, right? So go ahead and get your pecking order done here. Most important to least important, no matter how much money you think is going to be in this balance section. Just write it all down, what you are actually spending on the extras. And this will be things like your pool service, lawn care, pest control, house cleaners, storage units, all of your subscriptions, cable, gym, beauty, eating out, shopping. Yes, I know, but all that stuff is considered extras. And mine are okay, let's see what I've got. And I tried to put them in order from most important starting here to least important down there. I think they are in pretty good pecking order. And again, if things really needed to be cut, that would be something that Jason and I would figure out together. As I said, having this already done will be a lifesaver if it ever comes to that. When an emergency hits and you're already upset about it, the last thing you want to be doing is fumbling through your bank transactions to see where your money's been going. You can just come to this and be like, chop, 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 cut back, cut back, cut back. So easy, stress free. So now we're going to go through this and we're going to subtract these expenses from our income. Yes, finally, the hard work is about to pay off. We are going to see where you really are. Okay, so I had you guys write down 6 months of your income as you were going through your bank statements. And this was for those of you who say, I know exactly what I make, I'm salaried, it's consistent, I have a fixed income. What I wanted you to do was to write down those 6 months so that you could confirm that. And now that you have your 6 months of your income right in front of you, is it what you expected? Is it what you thought it would be? If yes, then you are good to go. Now, what if you have inconsistent or varied pay like me? Oh, you guys should know, I got you. Here is a worksheet that I made for you guys today. This is also linked below in the pinned comment. If you have an inconsistent paycheck, you're going to establish what is called a baseline pay. I want you to go online to your bank and look at all of your deposits. And let's see what it says. Add up all deposits / income for the past 12 months. So you would write in each one, just scribble it in there, whatever you made for January, February, March, and all the way down. You're going to put the totals here at the bottom. And then once you have all of those, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to look and see which 3 months out of the 12 were your lowest months, and you would write them here, 1, 2, and 3. So let's go ahead and do the bottom together. Let's say your lowest 3 months were $6,790, $8,350, and $5,336. As I said, you're going to add those up together, and that gives you $20,476. So let's write that here, 2,476. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to divide that by the number 3, because that's how many numbers you added. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's divide that by 3, and we get 6,825. This is your baseline pay. Now, what happens when you use your lowest months like we just did, you're actually doing a couple things. One, you're going to see when you're finished with this if you have a spending problem or an income problem. And number 2, if you start budgeting your money based on these lower months, you will start to see that your good months are naturally being saved up for your bad months. It's a win-win. Okay, so now that we all have our income, it is time to start subtracting all of these bills from your income. And we're going to start at page 1 and we're going to work our way down. We're going to put our balance here and then move on to the next section. Okay, and I ended up with $186. and 32, which is perfect. That leaves me a little bit of a buffer. So what about you? If you have money left, okay, you guys can put on your rose-colored glasses. You made it. You are living within your means. But what if after doing all that, you are in the negative? This just means adjustment time. You may need to increase your income, lower your expenses, or both. As I said before, I would work backwards and start my chopping block. Work with the money you already have, right? And again, these are your decisions based on what is most important to you. Don't get too upset about it because this is temporary and you can just bring these things back once you get things better situated elsewhere. Now, I have videos on how to save your first $1,000 emergency fund. Tons of ideas on this video to help you find some money. I have 10 plus ways to make money today, videos on ways to be more frugal that you can start right now. We have how to go through your house and sell stuff and make money that way. And you guys, that grocery video that I mentioned earlier, don't forget that groceries are the biggest bill that we have complete control over. Just so many videos to get you moving in the right direction. Now, what about if you are in the positive, but the amount that you have left, it's just not enough to put any kind of real dent into all of the debt that you're carrying? Or you constantly find yourself using the credit cards to pay for things that are unexpected, or worse yet, aren't unexpected. Maybe you just have a spending problem and you completely can see now that you do, now that you've done all of this work, there's just no denying it anymore, and you want to work on that. I would say that the no buy challenge would be a great start for you. And of course, I have a video on that as well. In fact, I think I have a couple of them, so I will link those below for you guys. Now, what if you have a partner or there's multiple people that are dipping into the same pot? I would say that the fastest and the easiest way to get everybody on board is to just agree on a weekly spending limit for each person. So on your paydays, just go get that amount in cash, hand out everyone's personal pocket money, and that's it. Everyone will be responsible for their own wad, and when it is gone, it is gone. And I want you guys to agree beforehand. No one is allowed to borrow off of someone else if they've spent all of their money. It will cause confusion and possibly arguments. I mean, honestly, it's not really that fair. And the biggest thing is the person that's the spender, they're never going to learn to not spend so much if somebody else in the house is continuously bailing them out and giving them their portion that was agreed on. Okay, you guys, so you have your step number 3. Yay. You're going to prioritize your subcategories here. You're going to get your income. You're going to subtract everything from your income. You're going to talk to your partner and your kids if that applies to you. You're going to have some decisions to make or adjustments. Now, if you guys want me to do a live tomorrow, which would be Saturday, May 10th, let me know in the comments, and I will do that for you guys if it seems like you got a lot of questions that need to be answered. Either way, our next step, which is step 4, I wanted to let you know now that I will not be posting the video next Friday. We have all of our family flying in for our son's wedding. He's getting married next weekend. So I can't honestly commit to a specific day when it will be posted. So if you are not subscribed yet, make sure that you do that and hit the bell so you will see it when it is posted. And I kind of figured you've got a lot going on with step 3, a lot of work to do there. Go ahead and get your plan together for things that you're going to cut out or cut back on. Get your family on board. Think about what you're going to do for your debt payoff plan. You got a lot to keep busy in the meantime, right? Step 3 is a big one. And I'm actually going to go ahead and link my grocery savings video right there for you guys to go ahead and click and check out. We all can use some tips and reminders in this department, right? So go ahead and get a refresher, and I will see you next time.